Welcome to the Dan Casper Show podcast, your chance to catch the full show anytime, anywhere. If you missed it live on the radio, no worries. We've got you covered with all the sports talk, opinions, interviews, and conversations from the show. From the Packers to the Brewers to the biggest stories in sports and around Wisconsin, it's all right here. This is the Dan Casper Show podcast. All right, second hour kicking off right now on this Thursday morning of June 18th. Thanks for making us a part of your start and hanging out with us. Whether you're tuning in on the radio dials, you got a couple of those, 105.1 FM, 790 AM. Also, you could tune in online, sportstalk1051.com. Got the app, download it, take it on the go. Smart devices like your Alexa devices and, the video stream up and rolling on YouTube here this morning. We'll get back to some more Brewers talk coming up here in a little while. We've got Jake Boakes joining us, Wisconsin DNR warden Jake. So if you have any questions, hunting, fishing, outdoors related, please text those on over to us so we can get those to Jake. Just send them at 715-830-1912. So we'll get back to some more Brewers talk. We'll get back to some more baseball talk in general. We've got Mike's Star Market, Am I Wrong? We're going to get to some hoops talk here with the Bucks as well. But I want to kick off the second hour doing my 3 up, 3 down here. So 3 things that stocks are up, 3 that are down. Up, let's just go Jackson Cheerio because, we talked about it in the first hour. I don't think we need to. Yeah. Dude's playing some really fantastic baseball. All-star, superstar level of baseball. World Cup, I haven't been able to watch a whole lot, but from what I've seen and heard from people talking, has been a really good start. A lot of really good games and a lot of enthusiasm and hype surrounding it. I know we got Team USA coming up again for Game 2, but World Cup, I would say, is up. And let's just acknowledge it, the Knicks winning the championship and such. So that's 3 up. My 3 down. MLB All-Star voting. Get it right when it comes to second base. Okay, Bryce Durang needs to be top spot on there. Let's do better, people. Okay, we need to do better. Bucks stock down because I don't like where it's trending, which we'll get to here in just a little bit. And I'm going to go with the sport of golf. How many of you remember the U.S. Open starts today? Yeah, it's going on right now. The U.S. Open at Shinnecock has started. How many of it's one of the majors in the sport of golf, and how much talk did you hear about it leading up to it? Not a lot. Now, maybe that's a good thing because there's other stuff going on. The NBA Finals wrapped up, Stanley Cup Finals wrapped up, baseball season's going on, World Cup's going on. So yes, there is a lot of things happening in the sports world, but this is already the 3rd major for the golf season, and I can guarantee you a lot of people probably forgot or didn't even know that it was starting. And you know what? I'm guilty too, because it was just the other day. I'm like, doesn't the U.S. Open, isn't it? It's Father's Day weekend, isn't it? Oh yeah, there it is. Yep. So it's going on right now at Shinnecock. So that's not great, I would say, for the world of golf when it's your major, the U.S. Open, and it's like behind baseball, the World Cup, NBA Finals, hockey. You're probably 5th, 6th in the order, so stock down for that. Back to the Bucks here. So now there's maybe some talk, at least when you do like a online search, there is some chit-chat that maybe the Bucks wait till after the draft. And I know you and I have talked about it, intern Carter. I don't want him to wait till after the draft. Now, on the flip side, maybe it's better if somebody else drafts the players instead of John Horst because, we've seen some of the draft history. But I think if it's a trade that's after the draft, that's a loss for the Bucks. And that's kind of where I've got them at this point because, and I get it, Bucks don't need to be in a rush. Mm-hmm. I still think it's a game of chicken to see if there's going to be a team that panics and maybe offers or ups their offer for Giannis. I don't know who it was. Was it Windhorst or somebody else said? This is, the Heat have offered a package like this for the longest time, and the Bucks are kind of sitting on it. I think it was Jim Ozarski, who Bucks reporter for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, kind of even mentioned, like, this was a package that didn't get it done for Dame. And if this is a package that didn't get it done for Dame because it wasn't enough, why would it be enough for Giannis? Should Giannis command more? Which I think is a decent point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good point there. So I think this is a game of chicken. Then the other part of me is maybe this is hopeful thinking from a Bucks fan. Bucks are fully content. Is the Bucks backup option of all this to sign Giannis to an extension? Is that the backup option where, okay, they're floating it out there just to see what they have or what they can get? And if it's something that they're not happy about or they're asking for the moon and like, okay, if we don't get it, we'll just sign him to an extension. Is that a possibility? I kind of maybe put it a little bit low, but maybe that's wishful thinking. I just don't want to see it happen after the draft. I think that would be worst case scenario for the Bucks.
And I don't think, like you said, they don't need to rush. They've got the player, but you do want to see it before the draft, and I think they are trying their best not to settle. And the Heat are giving everything they can. Mm-hmm. The Heat are literally giving the Bucks everything they can, but what they have isn't great. And so when you look around the NBA, that's maybe not a package you want, but it's probably the best you're going to get because
mm-hmm.
Boston's not going to sell their whole team for one player. You could wait till after the draft. I would be shocked if Giannis stayed past this year. You could wait to do it after the draft, but then you're risking draft picks. You're risking a player that you wanted not getting picked by that team because the Bucks have been operating in the draft process like they have 2 first-round picks. And so if the Heat pick somebody the Bucks don't want, then all of a sudden that package gets even worse. So they've got to be careful with how they do this because they could get even worse packages after the draft.
Mm-hmm. Trying to find the Ozarski quote, but this was from Sam Amick from The Athletic, saying that he believes the Heat are still in the lead for Giannis, but questions if a deal will be done by the draft. Quote, now as we get closer to it, I am legitimately starting to wonder if a deal goes down. Today, I've already made some calls this morning. It's the same old story. I don't think the Bucks are happy with what is coming their way. Like we've known for quite some time, Miami is out front. Boston legitimately in the picture. There's other teams that like to get in there but don't seem feasible. Portland being one of them. Minnesota dipped their toe in the water but seems to have cooled. We definitely have thought a deal was going to go down, but who knows if they might blow through the deadline here. I just and then Chris Haynes, which we talked about a couple weeks ago, said that the Giannis trade sweepstakes could drag into free agency. Now, is this a, shall I say, team-fed thing to try to up the pressure a little bit? This is where we got to take all things into account here. Is it coming from the team? Is it coming from the player? Is it coming from other teams to try to, it can get very political at times to try to force a narrative in that. But I still feel like he's gone. And I don't know if me thinking, okay, what if the deadline happens and there is no trade? Does that mean the fallback option is to sign him to an extension? I think that might be a little bit wishful thinking for me. Here's the quote from Jim Ozarski. He was on a podcast, Celtics Daily podcast. So let me play. This was actually from a couple days ago. But again, Jim Ozarski. I mean, he's around the Bucks. He covers them for the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel and such. So let's hear what he had to say.
Yeah, it's you're right about maybe some sensitivities on there. Look, we're just speaking facts. I mean, a lot of these guys were not enough to get Damian Lillard, a couple years ago. And so, yeah, I mean, Giannis is better than Dame. So I could see why if whether or not whether the Bucks turn down a deal in the 11th hour at the deadline, whether, the deal still hasn't been consummated as far as we know. So that clearly means whatever is on the table for Miami to date as we record this has not been enough to push it over the edge, right? Because it may yet happen, but as we record this, it has not. And so that clearly means whatever it is has not bowled Milwaukee over to the point that they just have to take it. And look, the Heat have been they've been trying to trade Tyler Hero for years. And Pat Riley flat out said they weren't going to extend him, in their end of season. And I don't know if that's part of the hang up here. Like Tyler has to be included because of the salary. But unlike we just spent this time on Jaylen Brown, like maybe there's some examination of where can Tyler go after this, and maybe that return is not great either. I don't know. The reason I say that.
All right. So again, that's just a little bit from Jim Owczarski that was on the Celtics Daily podcast. And, I don't know if, Tyler, obviously Wisconsin guy, you get the story, right? Wisconsin native, coming back home and that. But what if the Bucks don't want him, or what if the Bucks do want him, but he isn't? We talk about Giannis committing to sign the extension. If the Bucks really want Tyler, but he doesn't want to sign an extension, does that throw things, kind of aloof here too? Or are the Bucks trying to find another team to flip Tyler Hero for and to get another pick? And will Tyler Hero sign an extension to that team? It's that all that stuff could be in play in this thing.
And I think he's the sticking point because he's not the greatest player in the world. And so for the Bucks, it's like, do we want to rebuild around Tyler Hero, or do we want to trade for him and then ship him back out for another draft pick? I am a little bit surprised they have, and maybe they have shopped Miles Turner and Kyle Kuzma around a little bit, but I'm a little bit surprised they haven't traded anybody yet, because if they're going for a full-on rebuild, we've got some people that need to go. Mm-hmm. And so maybe Giannis goes first and then everything follows, but the draft's coming quickly, and these trades have to get done sooner rather than later.
And I wonder, like what you mentioned, the Tyler and shipping him, it almost reminds me of like the Drew Holiday, when the Bucks traded Drew Holiday to Portland, and then Portland shipped him to Boston. It's just that kind of thing. A little bit different because of contract. I mean, Drew Holiday was under contract and that. But is it possible that the Bucks, on a scale of 1 to 10, how probable is this? The mindset that the Bucks are, all right, yeah, we'll take offers, we'll see what's out there, but when we get to draft day and there's not that offer that blows us out the window, we're shutting down these talks and we're going to focus on extending Giannis?
I think it's a possibility. The hard part is I think Giannis kind of controls this, and I think he does want to leave a little bit. And he likes the grass is always greener, right, for these guys, and so I think he likes the thought of leaving. And so I do think he gets traded eventually. But who knows? I mean, at that point, it's going to be, for me, a much higher chance he stays than right now, because I'm about 90% sure he gets traded. But if he's there past the draft, I could see a way that the Bucks do extend him. The problem is I don't see a way you compete with him still on your roster.
Yeah. Doc Rivers, former Bucks coach, most recently here, he's been with Bill Simmons, or he did an interview with Bill Simmons. And Bill Simmons is a big, Celtics fan and such. And he kind of said, I think was the first to say that the Celtics were inquiring about Giannis and such. This is part of what he had to say about if it is Miami as the team that acquires Giannis. This is audio courtesy from the Bill Simmons podcast.
Risk making it worse.
We've seen this happen in the NBA over and over again.
Over and over again.
But for him, I don't understand why he would want to go to Miami's the one I can't figure out, unless they have other moves coming that I don't know, because it's like all right, it's him and Bam, but you just traded everybody else. So where are you going?
And you would have traded your closer because Tyler Hero's a closer.
Right.
Say what you want about him, but he's a straight up
So why
closer.
would I want to go laterally? I would just rather stay in Milwaukee at that point.
Is, that's where he's trusting their front office that they have the ability to add more pieces. Those are the talks we're not in.
After the last 2 rounds of basketball we watched, you need 7, 8 dudes.
You need a lot of guys.
It can't just be you and Bam Adebayo, and it can't be you and Jason Tatum.
Yeah. Well, the Celtics still have a lot of players.
No, I know, but
so
I'm just
there's a much safer thing for him. The only thing from the Celtics' point of view is you are shortening your window. Because Giannis is older and Brown is younger.
Giannis is older with more miles on him, too.
But you also maybe, after that window, giving yourself a chance to have another window with Jason Tatum.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it depends on how the front offices look at it.
What would you do if you were Boston?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
All right. So, again, that's Doc Rivers and that. And Doc made another point about Giannis here that I want to play potentially on the team. And this is something I think Bucks fans have talked about a lot over the years in the offseason and about Giannis playing Europe basketball. Well, this is what Doc had to say. Again, audio courtesy from Bill Simmons' podcast.
So what am I trading for if I'm getting him? Because I don't know if you're aware, but
I've heard
the Boston Celtics are one of the possible teams.
Yeah, I've heard. Well, you're getting a rejuvenated, healthy Giannis.
Is it a healthy or hopefully healthy?
No, he's healthy. And I also think this will be his first time in 4 years not having Europe basketball.
So you think you get Giannis, these next 2 years would be the years you have to cash in on?
Yeah, he's going to be. He's so motivated. It's not like he's not always, but he's just motivated. He wants to win another title. Giannis wants to win. He doesn't talk a lot about his play. He talks about winning, and Giannis wants to win.
I don't know what the right team is for him.
I don't either.
To actually win a title.
You have to have a closer with him. And
that's Boston would have.
That's why the Tatum thing makes more sense, because a 2-man game with Giannis and Tatum. Good luck.
All right. So again, that's courtesy from the Bill Simmons podcast. How much should we take away from what Doc has to say about Giannis, considering he was just coaching Giannis for the last couple of years? Is there a little? I mean, got to take a little bit from him, right?
A little bit, but again, he talked about a closer. The Bucks acquired the best closer in basketball. Damian Lillard is the best closer in all of basketball, and that didn't work. So it's not just about closer; it's about depth and defense. And Boston right now isn't offering a package anywhere close to Giannis. So in order to offer a package, they're going to have to trade more players, which weakens their depth, and they can't afford to do that if they want a championship window. Mm-hmm. So again, I don't think he goes to Boston because the Bucks don't want Jaylen Brown either. And Jaylen Brown doesn't want the Bucks.
Yeah.
So I don't see how that works.
Yeah. I think, was it Doc or Bill said too, I mean, look at the last couple of years, the champions, and even the teams that have been to the finals. I think the 2-man, 3-man teams that's not getting it done.
Yeah, they're done. They're over.
You got to get more depth on these teams. And if you're Giannis, and again, maybe he's not the one pushing this. It very well could be he's not the one pushing this. But it's like Bill said, isn't that kind of a lateral move from the Bucks to the Heat? And I thought it was kind of telling when Doc said, well, maybe he trusts Miami's front office. So that maybe he doesn't trust John Horst and the Bucks. I don't know. Maybe that might be grasping at straws, but that's my biggest thing is if he goes to the Heat, are they better? Are they much better than what he'd have with Milwaukee right now? That's why I question, is this a Giannis thing or is this more of a Bucks thing where they just want to move on from Giannis?
Again, the grass is always greener, and I think Miami is the climate and the big city that he likes. But I think Boston, in terms of this year, would also be close to a lateral move because they're trading away all their depth. So it's you and Jason Tatum. And try to go win a championship with those. And a
Celtics team that just got out of the first, didn't even get out of the first round.
They couldn't beat the Sixers. So I don't think this Boston Celtics are going to win a championship next year if they get Giannis. So there's a lot of moving pieces, but I don't know what's best for it right now.
You look at it. Okay, I'm going to make the case for the Bucks here. Actually, we got to take a break, and then we'll do that. So let's take a quick break, and we'll be right back after these few words. Summer is the season for golf, softball, pickleball, running, and staying active. But aches and pains, they can quickly slow you down. That's where Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine comes in. Their experienced team helps weekend warriors and athletes of all ages get back to doing what they love with expert care and treatment options designed to keep you moving. Play more, hurt less. Chippewa Valley Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. So, talking more about Giannis and, a few days away from the NBA draft, is that if that deadline comes and there's nothing there, will they keep him and such? And, talk about lateral moves and, okay, just let's look at the Bucks roster right now. You look at, okay, Miles Turner. I don't know if we got a really good gauge of him last year. Didn't play a whole lot with Giannis. Ryan Rollins, Kevin Porter Jr., you throw those guys in there. Let's just say right now you look at it with Giannis under, plus you're adding the 10th pick in the draft. Is that roster better than him going to the Heat where they're going to be not drafting anybody because that 13th pick will be a part of this? They're losing Tyler Hero. It's Giannis and Bam and maybe, some other dudes and such. But if it's status quo with the Milwaukee Bucks and then you add the 10th pick, is that roster better than what the Heat could probably put together?
I think so. I mean, if Miles Turner were to play, he played awful last year.
Mm-hmm.
That's not Miles Turner. If you were to see him play like a Brook Lopez in the last few years of his career in Milwaukee, Giannis comes back, like Doc Rivers said, motivated, because I believe that's true. Giannis wants to win.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get a good player with the 10th pick and maybe flip Kuzma for a player that's a depth piece. I mean, this team is good enough to compete for a playoff spot. I don't think they're good enough to compete for a championship. But they're good enough to compete for a playoff spot. They just all have to play like they can.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts on the defensive end.
Mm-hmm. Just looking, so Bucks don't really have a whole lot of cap space. Let's see what they've got. Actually, okay. The Bucks. I'm looking at Spot Track right now. So they're 18th on this. They're about, is that $50 million? I don't understand NBA cap space sometimes with luxury stuff and all that stuff. But I mean, they're like 18th on here. Okay, so they can finagle it, right? They can move around a little bit. I'm just wondering if they could find something to get rid of Kuzma and add some other stuff onto this team. I mean, the Dame cap hit, the dead money, that thing's going to be here for a while. You can't get away from that. But okay, let's say they draft a guard because everybody says they need a guard. They need a point guard. They need a legit point guard. Okay, then I think if you do that, do you trade like a Ryan Rollins or a Kevin Porter Jr. to get something in return? Because those guys are also going to be free agents after this year, I believe it is. Or no, Ryan Rollins in a couple of years, so he's still cheap, $4 million. Where Kevin Porter Jr. is actually a little bit more expensive. And I don't know. I look at that roster, and maybe I'm like mind polluted and such. I'm trying to be a fan in that, but I had to look at it and I see that as a better. That's your stuff right there, Dave. Right there. Thanks, buddy. I look at that as a roster as better than the Heat, especially with the Heat having to give up a lot of their stuff.
And again, you saw the Cormac Ryan experience go really well at the end of the season, so maybe he becomes an AJ Green and shoots the lights out. You could probably flip, like you said, Kevin Porter Jr. and Kyle Kuzma for an impact player. And if you hit on that number 10 pick, which, again, like you alluded to, it hasn't been good for the Bucks, but if you hit on that 10 pick, all of a sudden you've got somebody who can pass, who can finish, that plays well with Giannis. You're right back in the running because Giannis is that player in his career right now that can make the difference enough for you to get to a championship.
Mm-hmm.
And again, all you need is Miles Turner to play defense and hit a couple threes, and you're really good. So there's moves they can make, and there's moves they should make, but I think if Giannis is traded, every roster is going to be worse than what the Bucks have right now because the Bucks are taking everything like they should.
I don't know. Have you seen anything about what the Celtics, besides Brown, would offer the Bucks?
A lot of draft picks, and they need a third team. They can't just straight swap.
I did see a third team one that would involve the Hawks. Honestly, that one I wouldn't. That wouldn't be bad. I almost like that one better than what they would get with the Heat. You've got Jonathan Kuminga, Zachary Richard he was the top pick. Buddy Hield isn't probably Buddy Hield anymore, but the number 8 pick and the number 23 pick of this year's draft. And then another first rounder from the Celtics, an unprotected in 2027, and an unprotected first rounder in 2029. A couple more players. If that's the route, if you are going to trade, you got to go young and just blow this whole thing up and go that way.
Yeah, if you trade Giannis, in my opinion, Kyle Kuzma's got to go. Miles Turner's got to go. I would trade Kevin Porter Jr. I like Ryan Rollins, so I'd trade Kevin Porter Jr. You need to blow everything up and rebuild it. That's the only way you're going to start winning because you have to build from the bottom like the Spurs and the Thunder. That's how they got there. You can't just trade Giannis and expect to win this year.
Like even the Knicks, who just won the championship, and I know they made moves by trades, but they're deep. They're more than just two. Jalen Brunson, yes. Jalen Brunson gets all the talk and the attention, and rightfully so, and he's a great player. But they also had a few more players, too. It wasn't just a two-headed monster.
And arguably, OG Anunoby was the most impactful player in that series, and he's the third option on that. Fourth option almost on that team. He and Bridges fight for that third spot. You need depth. Alvarado coming off the bench played extremely well. Shamit's going to get a look in free agency because of how well he played. You need guys and dogs off your bench that can play incredible defense and knock down a couple threes. And the Bucks just don't have the depth right now because they don't have the money with Giannis still on the roster.
Yeah. Do you think if it gets to the draft and there's no move made, should they just pivot and try to lock up Giannis?
I think they should. I don't think they will. I do think that there's a little bit of they wait till after the draft, then all of a sudden the Heat get nervous because I think they're trying to build like we're gonna get Giannis. So if and we've talked to they talked all of last season how their owner is like they're gonna go all in, but if all of a sudden they don't get Giannis before the draft. And there's rumors about the Bucks locking up Giannis. All of a sudden, the Heat are like, we got to pivot because our whole plan was to get Giannis. Now we can't get him. And I mean, they could bring in John Morant, but that probably won't work. So all of a sudden, maybe they throw even a better offer. And so I think that's kind of the Bucks don't need to rush it. I would rather have it done before the draft than after. But the Bucks kind of do hold all the cards.
I mean, you look at what the free agency is right now, and honestly, it's not that great. Austin Reeves is probably a top one, but it's a player option. He might even stay with the Lakers.
Yep.
So there's not a whole lot out there. So it's like from a pivot standpoint, there's not a big target out there.
You'd have to trade for like a Kawhi or a job. But again, those guys are at the back end of their career. You don't know how much you're going to get from them, just like you don't know how much you're going to get from Kevin Durant because the Rockets don't really want him anymore. So.
Well, and that's the thing is, on the flip side, for a lot of these teams that want to trade for Giannis, you look at what the Houston Rockets just did last year.
Yeah.
They traded for KD. They were second in the Western Conference standings the year before. They traded for a KD, and you can make the argument they took a step back for an aging player to come. KD's a great player. He's a great scorer, but that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get better when you make these moves. So, I don't know.
And KD can handle the ball a little bit and dish out assists. Giannis is a ball handler. He's a primary ball guy. He doesn't like to work off the ball, so he's going to need it. And that's why the Heat kind of do make sense a little bit because he's going to get the ball every trip down the court. With the Celtics, he and Jason Tatum are going to be fighting for stuff.
Yeah.
And Dame and Giannis didn't work at all. That's what would make me nervous if I'm a Celtics fan.
That's why I mean, I get it to a point, but I also kind of question why the Celtics are maybe exploring this and trying to push this. But, I mean, you can make cases for either way. Is it an overreaction from what happened in the postseason from the Celtics, from what happened in that first round? Because I think everybody's surprised they lost. They looked like, oh, God, without Brown, they were getting it done. And it's like, or excuse me, without Tatum, they were getting it done. And then it's like, now you get Tatum back, watch out, they're going to win again. And it just, I think maybe that's a little bit of an overreaction from the Celtics part.
I would agree.
But all right, we got to take a quick break. Back with plenty more, though, coming up after these few words. Don't forget, tomorrow and Saturday and Sunday at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire, if you're looking for the ultimate Father's Day gift or planning the perfect backyard celebration, you can join Hy-Vee for their Father's Day steak cutting event. Their expert butchers will custom slice premium, high-quality steaks exactly how dads like them, whether he loves a massive, thick-cut ribeye or a T-bone or a classic New York strip. So here's the times. Friday, tomorrow, June 19th, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. Saturday, June 20th, from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And Sunday, June 21st, on Father's Day, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. So, again, make sure you're always checking out Hy-Vee's Facebook page, where they've also got their Father's Day steak sale, which starts today, going through the 21st. You can see all the different steaks that they'll have on sale starting today. We got about 15 minutes left to the top of the hour, so second to final call for any questions for just blanked on the name question or word questions. Any questions for Jake Boakes? Please send those on over to our Shoe Doctors bullpen line at 715-830-1912. If you got any questions for Jake, our DNR warden buddy. So that'll be coming up at about 8:30 this morning. If you want to participate in some 3 up and 3 downs, stock reports, essentially 3 things that are up, 3 things that are down, send those on over to us too. So that's we'll get to those. Your Mike's Star Market, Am I Wrong? Give me a sports take, give me a sports opinion where you would say, am I wrong for thinking that or saying that? So are you into, Carter, much into the World Cup at all, a little bit, or
any sporting event I'll get into? So
yeah, a little bit. I think when it gets deeper into the tournament, I might get more into it.
It's hard. Like, I didn't even know some of these countries existed a little bit ago. So not actually, but they're small. So right now it's just wait until. Well, I'll watch USA games, but then wait until group play ends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm probably in the same boat there too. Well, this is the first I've got to talk to you. Hurricanes Stanley Cup champs. So
thank goodness.
You did not want Vegas to win?
All.
No?
Not at all.
Why is that?
They came in as expansion team, and it's Vegas, so they got their kind of pick of players they wanted, and they haven't really gone through hard times yet as a franchise, and that's not bad, but they just I wanted the Hurricanes to win because, well, number one, Vegas is in the wild side of the playoff bracket, but they just don't need to win anymore. Mm-hmm. I don't like them, partly just because they're from Vegas, but they've beaten the Wild a lot. So they beat them last year in the postseason. So, but I was a big Hurricanes fan coming into the postseason. They're probably the 3rd team I wanted to win. So it's good.
Yeah,
fun series to watch.
So. Zach says on our Section 105 stream here, do you all think Giannis will stay with the Bucks? Where is your Giannis trade-o-meter at today, Dan? I would really love to see Giannis stay and eventually retire a Buck. I'm probably still at a 7. 7 that he gets traded. 10 that he gets traded for sure. 0. I'm probably still at a 7.
Yeah.
I think what I'm trying to do, honestly, is talk myself into him staying. Like, oh, maybe that's why nothing's like there because, they're maybe going to work on this. And I think that's what I'm doing. But gosh, it sure seems like everything's trending that he's the fact that kind of like Jim Wozarski, who was, if you've been following him for the last couple of years on the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, he's kind of downplayed a lot of the trade stuff and said no. But now that he's kind of changed ties a little bit, makes me feel like that it's actually going to happen.
Yeah, I think these rumors are a little different.
Yeah.
Maybe because Shams isn't reporting them, but it just feels like he's going to get traded.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is the thing that bugs me about sports now. More so now. I mean, when I was younger, yeah, you had some trades here and there, but nothing to the extent of what it is now, where it's so hard, and I feel bad for like younger fans. So like my kid, he's only known Giannis with the Bucks, and now he's like, yeah, Giannis ain't going to be there anymore. And when I was younger, that was kind of unfathomable to imagine. Like, okay, Favre playing on a different team when I was 10 years old, I never would have thought would have happened. I never really kind of went through it. My first one was Shaq, but that was a free agent, signing, and never really had these trades. And it's just, I feel it that's the one of the many things that I kind of have an issue with pro sports now. But one of the biggest ones, it's so hard to maybe get really excited about players on your team, because the question is always, well, how long are they be there? Bucks, Brewers especially, because Packers, you don't really have that.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think, the NFL has a very hard salary cap, and everything's kind of equal, right, in those terms. And free agency stuff, nobody wants to go to Green Bay. I think that gets overplayed now. Yeah. And people still want to throw it out there. Sure, for some, they probably don't want to go to Green Bay. But you know what ultimately decides it? Money. Mm-hmm. And everybody in the NFL has equal footing when it comes to money. If you really want to get into state taxes and stuff, yes, there's that. But you don't really have that feeling for Green Bay. Like, I don't have that feeling for Green Bay. It's like, if they suck this year, they're going to trade that guy and they're going to do that. No. The other part of it, though, too, is that the free agency in football, they can place a franchise tag on somebody and not allow them to go. Basketball and football, or basketball and baseball, how many times have we talked about with baseball? Bryce Strang's probably going to be gone, and that stinks.
Yeah.
In a couple years. Contreras is probably going to be gone, and that stinks. We're talking about one of the franchise best player of all time with the Bucks is probably gone because they're going to trade him.
And you're talking about the NFL. Like, Myles Garrett requested a trade, and then the Browns just said, we'll pay you whatever you want. So he stayed. Mm-hmm. Well, the Bucks will pay Giannis whatever he wants, but I think he still wants to go, and there's your difference right there. Mm-hmm. Because these players in the NBA, I don't know what it is, but they just aren't content with where they're at usually. I mean, Kevin Durant's the best example, and he just cannot win anymore.
Yeah, Kevin Durant, James Harden.
Yeah.
And that's where I go to, okay, Giannis is saying he would love to finish with the Bucks net, and I get it. And I totally get it. As long as they're competitive. I totally understand that, and I totally get that. But if he truly, 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 truly wanted to stay in Milwaukee at all costs, wouldn't he just come out and say it? Instead of saying, it's not my decision, you're kind of passing the buck a little bit, right? Like, you're not shutting it down. Mm-hmm. You're at least open to it. Whereas and we were talking about the other day, I appreciate a guy like Byron Buxton who says, I'm happy. Sure, he still might get traded in that, and he's got the no trade clause, so he can decide that. He's got a lot of say in that decision. But you see those guys, they're like, no, I'm good. I don't want to go anywhere. I'm happy.
Well, Steph Curry's of the world with his team the whole career. And it's different. I think it's a little different because the Warriors have just won a championship.
Yeah.
But like you said, Buxton, the Twins haven't been good for a long time. So it's always cool when you get those players.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Really quick, because we do got to take one more break. Cody says Trey Young, I'm assuming. Yeah, Trey opting out of Washington makes me think he will stay, and they bring in Trey to the Bucks. Can they afford that?
Probably not.
I don't know what Trey Young. Okay, Trey Young and Giannis.
I'm good.
You don't want that?
Nope. I think Trey Young's a little overrated. He plays no defense whatsoever as well. So.
Okay.
But
all right. Trey Young or Ja Morant?
Giannis. Neither.
To pair with Giannis.
Ryan Rollins.
Ryan Rollins. All right, we got to take a quick break. We're running behind, so we'll be right back after these few words.